This instrument is called the erhu, E-R-H-U. Simply means two. Hu come from the people, the Han people, H-U-N, who came to China and brought this instrument to China. So this instrument has a family which is called the Hu Qin, the Hu instrument. So this particular one is erhu. And I have a smaller one and a bigger one with me.
So I didn't really discover the dulcimer from any traditional means. I really came to it really out of left field. I'm a percussionist. I do play some other instruments, but when I was in high school, I discovered the dulcimer through a British guitar player named Beltran, who played with this band called Pentangle. And I had never really known about the dulcimer much because I grew up in New York City and it just wasn't on my radar. You know, I must have been, I don't know, about 16 or so when I first was introduced to that instrument, and it was fascinating to me. And as a percussionist who is probably the world's worst and most frustrated guitar player, the dulcimer was a string instrument that I could actually play, but I had no reference for it. I had no one around me who knew anything about it, and I just taught myself. You know, I just started to explore the instrument and just became totally fascinated by it. And then it's interesting because I bought an instrument through the mail from A.W. Jeffries in Staunton, West Virginia, and just decided to just go for it and learn how to play it. And it took me years to just kind of really negotiate it, because I'd kind of played a little or not, and then it would sit for a long time. And then at a certain point, about 10 years ago, I used to work with a musician in New York City who bartered with me. He wanted me to do a recording session for him, and he couldn't pay me, so he gave me this dulcimer, and I had no idea what it was when I first got it until I got it home and just cleaned it up and restrung it and started to play it. And when it started to come to life within a couple of weeks, I had this incredible instrument, and that really changed my life in terms of my relationship to the instrument and the possibilities of what I could do with it, because all of a sudden I had an instrument that would really sing when I played it. And this is from someone who, as a vibraphone player, I had been making records of my own. You know, I had ensembles of my own, playing more jazz-oriented music. You know, my background is really all over the place. I mean, growing up in New York City, I played in so many different camps of music and could never understand why they didn't cross over, because to me it was all the same. It was all good. If it was good, it was great. And you, mandolin player, why don't you know this jazz bass player who's just incredible, and why aren't you guys playing together, and what can I help to do about that? So for me to establish the relationship that I did with the dulcimer was really kind of an amazing thing for me. It's not that it's not that an amazing thing, but for me to go in that direction after where I'd been going harmonically, writing for the Vibes, and I'd written for some small film things, and have a bunch of records of my own playing Vibes and leading groups of my own and collaborating with lots of different people, because that's really the heart of it for me, is collaborating. And so when I started to get into this instrument, it was slowly, and then all of a sudden it became an obsession, to the point where it's all I would do. It was all I would practice musically. And I became really obsessed with extending the language of the instrument and just the whole concept of what the instrument can be, and trying to, you know, have it be this a concert sounding instrument, you know, and the kind of influences that I've always had for myself with all kinds of music were now being channeled in a different way through this instrument. So it's been just an amazing thing for me. And just the whole relationship to strings, after playing things that you would hit or shake or rub or scratch or crash, you know, to now have a relationship to an instrument where it's that fingers on strings and the expressiveness of that, it was a real revelation for me, and I'm still riding that wave. It's still a complete obsession for me at this point.
It just sounded different from the guitar, which I was already playing a lot, and it had an earthy sound, it had a mournful sound. You know, I was mostly interested in playing blues on it. That's the sound said blues to me. So a buddy and I in high school had to go in together and buy and share a banjo. That's how I got my first one. And whoever learned to play it first got to keep it. So I learned to play it first. And by the time I was in college, I was playing in bands. And even though I still love my guitar, the banjo was a personal expression for me. It just clicked. And I was able to, like most banjo players, you come up with your own unique style of playing, and the instrument lends itself to that. And it's become my voice. And as Jeff was talking about how important it is to find an instrument that speaks to you, I've been playing this same banjo for 25 years, and I've never bought another one, because I can't find one that has the expression that this one has. And I think that the uniqueness of this instrument really inspires me.
Well, actually, I was participating in the Gateway to the Arts program, in Arts in Education. So I had a little group going, only Chinese music and dance. And Jeff and Sue also participated in Gateway to the Arts. So Carol Wolf has been mentioning to me about Jeff Berman and Sue Powers. If I know them, I say, no, I don't know them. And it took quite a while, I think 2 years after that or more. And we went to a friend's party, Hugh Watkins' party, and that's where we met for the first time. I say, you are Jeff Berman, you are Sue Powers. So, and Jeff and I has been playing together since that party. We've been getting together and play in public for a little bit, and then after that Sue joined us, and that became AppalAsia.
When did you first realize that what you did had something special going on? And when did you get it? You know how in cartoons, when somebody gets the idea, a light bulb is drawn over top of their head? Was there a moment analogous to that in the development of your relationship with AppalAsia?
For me, actually not. It was, at the beginning, it was just an experiment. And I think, you know, dulcimer is an American folk instrument, and mine is a Chinese folk instrument. It has the same, not the same, but similar, it has some similar qualities to it. So, and banjo is the same way. So I didn't have any idea before, this is what I'm looking for. we just got together and for me it sounded great, so we sort of developed our own music.